Okay, okay. How does this thing work? Am I on? Am I on? Is it working? Is it working? Okay. It's me, Sydney the Sloth, and we're gonna do the participation award for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Southern Rich People Edition. Well, more rich. Plus, I have a bow tie. The movie is April Fool's Day, and it seems apt since that's the day this channel started. This horror film is like, you know, if everyone was super rich and had way too much time on their hands. Corrupt cops, but that's a different video. Moving on. Instead of cupcakes for this channel anniversary, I have petit fours. In fact, I have not one, but 2 sets of petit fours. So is that like 2 petit fours or 8 single fours? 8 petit fours? Look, I do drama, I don't do math. Or French.
Okay, let's try it one syllable at a time. Okay, so repeat after me. Je m'appelle.
Pelle.
Great. Okay, faster. Je m'appelle.
Pelle.
Je m'appelle.
Me poo-poo.
Like, subscribe, ring the bell, and if you want to see the axolotl SEB back, comment, bring back cupcake. Long ago and far away in one of the Carolinas in 2007, nearly 15 years ago, a bunch of rich people wanted to have a dinner party that is actually a debutante party thing and looks like 90s prom. I'm aware that this is a remake of the 1986 film because nothing is original.
Torrance, honey, I'm honored to call you my friend, and I look forward to sharing many happy years together.
Great. Very sincere.
Oh yeah. Marry rich and don't get fat.
Endeavors, future endeavors.
Point for attempting to make it better, though they technically could have done more. Within minutes, we are introduced to every rich person stereotype, and we already don't want any of them to make it to the end. Speaking of, point for this quote.
How many times do I have to tell you? Champagne, then hors d'oeuvres. Jesus.
This film is directed by the Butcher Brothers, so I'm sure their next project is Charlotte Bronte's Wuthering Heights. However, you can definitely tell this is written by men who think they know what women discuss when they aren't around, because it's super catty and over-the-top passive-aggressive. I would take a point away, but since every character is a stereotype, we're gonna let it go. Unless I change my mind later.
Milan! Wow, you look divine.
You look stunning, as always.
Thank you. Just threw myself together.
You know, this is all looking very familiar.
Well, it's not nearly as beautiful as your ball. But we did miss having you here for the pre-party toast.
Well, I've been working so much with my charities, I haven't had time for as much socializing or traditions.
Admirable.
Even the names of the characters are rich people names like Desiree and Milan. So, rich people exotic. Until the poor start using those names in like 10 years. Even though this is supposed to be around the mid-2000s, the dresses scream rich people 90s. So, point for throwback. And we get a hint that it involves an inheritance because, of course it does. And what would it be without that little smidge of misogyny and family drama?
You still in for later tonight with Milan?
As long as you quit pestering me about that stupid SL550, then yes.
It's not fair. Why should you get to decide how I spend my money?
Because that's what Father stated in our trust. Besides, you have a perfectly fine automobile.
My car is an eyesore.
It's a 2007, Desiree. You don't need a new Mercedes every year.
Fine, whatever. Just stick to the plan, all right?
So Milan is like totally different because she's a philanthropist. So this means one of two things. Either Milan will be the first victim, or she's the one making the call from inside the house.
For Christ's sakes, Nash, you got it wrong. That's where the calls are going into.
That's where they're coming from, too, sir.
So the prank goes down, and it's the most ridiculous thing. Milan is indeed the victim, and the result is that the brother is no longer in charge of the inheritance. At least we think that Milan is no longer alive. Dun, dun, dun!
That any outward and evident citations of questionable character and or any illegal activity are grounds for removal. In light of the inquiry into the death of Milan Hastings and with the more recent allegations of sexual misconduct involving Mr. Cartier, I have no choice but to revoke his responsibilities as executor of the Cartier estate and hereby designate Desiree Cartier.
At least the news clips are hilarious, so 2 points for that, and they call them the Kennedys of the South. By the by, they're the Cartier family. Then we get to April 1st, 2008, Death Day. Okay, fine, it's just the first year anniversary of the prank that would soon send all their lives down a different path.
Miss Cartier.
Jesus.
So sorry, Miss Cartier. I didn't mean to frighten you.
It's fine, Wilford. I just... having a rough morning, that's all.
I found this at the door earlier this morning.
The friends start to get picked off one by one. The first unaliving is by drowning, so losing a point because, melodramatic, and a really boring start. While I'm here, I would almost give a point for the most Karen haircut, especially since she uses outdated words for people with certain disabilities. So I'm gonna just leave that here. Also, she calls the people working in her house servants. That's outdated too, right? I'm guessing they certainly ain't doing that for free.
Where were you last night?
I was at home. Well, any of the servants can verify that.
Can they?
Yes, they can. And where were you, Ryan?
I was at my apartment doing a project.
Do you have any witnesses?
I will give a point for making every character in this movie the absolute worst. I mostly kept watching because it was actually cathartic to see them get picked off one by one. And in this scene you think, it's probably adult content on that laptop? Wrong. It is so much weirder. He's like worshipping a picture of himself?
Hey, Stuart. You know, it's gonna be okay. I'm kind of in the middle of something right now, so... Okay. You're doing a heck of a job. Could be whatever I want to be. Could be God.
On to his wife, Barbie. She is left to try and prepare for a pageant with flickering lights, and she complains the entire time. Her delivery makes me want her to unalive faster, but her complaint is legit. But then, like a Tex Avery cartoon, when Desiree goes back to check on her, she's gone. Gone, I say! The Karen haircut starts questioning reality, seeing Milan everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere.
What? No. She was right here. She was right here. And the vase, it was on the...
After what happened today, it's a sick joke.
No. She was right here.
Since they are rich and everyone knows who they are, it's hilarious when they call the cops, they automatically think it's a prank. So the brother is basically the Bart Simpson of the town.
Which way does the water turn in your toilet?
Dice que el curso está cambiando.
Ay, caramba. Los insurgentes ya van a capturar la capital. Necesito huir.
We can't get a straight answer out of this crazy hemisphere.
On to Mr. Plastic's face, and I do enjoy the irony of being run over by a van with his creepy-ass face on it. 10 points because it's the only person I wanted to be taken out more than Karen. As we close in toward the ending of the movie, we still need to figure out who done it, right? It's about revenge. It's about justice. It's about Milan, even though they're all awful people. Just confess, Karen. Just confess they're that obsolete haircut and knockoff Louboutins. And like, oh my god, it's just a prank. Okay, even though I know it's called April Fool's Day and it's not like I couldn't see that coming, no points. Not only did none of them actually go bye-bye, they're all stupid obnoxious. It was going to be 16 points, but you know what? You get nothing.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
The Gucci apple doesn't fall far from the Dolce Gabbana tree, and once again we're back in court, where the rich will never be punished, and we see him drive off into the sunset with that dumbass smirk on his generic face. Look, if the car suddenly exploded because the effects guys forgot about an April Fool's prank, I would have laughed my ass off. But it doesn't happen. He stays alive. At least the credits show the news transmission that calls out exactly what the audience is thinking. So I guess 1 point for confirming that the rich will never have to answer to anything.
Basically, a bunch of trust fund babies got away with murder when their so-called April Fool's Day prank resulted in the death of an innocent altruist. How is her brother holding up? From what I understand, he gains to inherit the entire Cartier estate.
Well, Blade and I have been friends for many years, and believe me when I tell you, no amount of money is ever gonna wash away the pain he is feeling right now.
Well, that's the end, and at least there's not a sequel, so yay, I guess? I don't know. Come back and see us next time. Bye! Oh, come on, this would be so much easier if I had longer arms. Urgh! Who designed me? You're my little patty for the cake I finally get to eat.
Hey, kid, that's for customers only.
Did you know there's a guy outside handing out free Stridex pads?
Wow, I'm in Pizza Face Paradise.
Brandenburg.